finally, I want to talk a little bit about the recent Supreme Court decision that limited the scope of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Michael mentioned that, and I spoke about it. I already discussed this a couple weeks ago, but it's worth revisiting. After the decision came out, many commentators quoted the dissent from Ruth Bader Ginsburg in an earlier decision, which started to limit the Voting Rights Act. In that case, Justice Ginsburg said, quote, throwing out preclearance, that's preclearance of voting changes, throwing out preclearance when it has worked and is continuing to work to stop discriminatory changes is like throwing away your umbrella because you are not getting wet. I didn't include this quote in my prior discussion, but I thought about some more about it, so I'm going to meditate on it a little further today. When I'm dressed for court and it's going to rain, I bring an umbrella because I don't want my fancy schmancy suit to get ruined. When we have a rally and it's going to rain, I don't bring my sound system because I don't want that to get ruined. But when I show up, usually without an umbrella in the rain, it's okay that I don't have an umbrella because these clothes can get rained on. It's just water. Similarly, because my house is on top of a hill, I don't worry about flooding, at least not as much as my neighbor does, whose house, he lives in a house where the water kind of drains down from the street. I used to be a basketball player. I could defend, shoot, hustle, and drive confidently to my right. I wasn't good driving to my left, so I was easy to defend. But I worked hard enough on this weakness that I eventually played Division III basketball for a year. I used to be a baseball player. Then I saw my first curveball, and I couldn't hit it. And it was a weakness I could not overcome. The end. Why am I talking about sports? Because there's things we're good at and things we're not. We can get better at some things. Others are more difficult. Why am I talking about rain and floods? Because we have to worry more about some things than others. There are things we can take more for granted, other things we need to take more seriously. This is all obvious. America has not always been good at racial equality or equity. We have needed to fight actual wars and then decades of struggles to achieve fairer electoral outcomes. We have to worry about denial of the rights of black people differently than we have to worry about the electoral rights of teachers or plumbers or lawyers. That's why this Supreme Court decision is so disappointing, even if it's not shocking. A majority of the court continues to take great pride in claiming a, quote, colorblind approach to justice. But what does colorblind actually mean? Is it a good thing? When someone says, I don't see color, should we applaud? That bag is yellow. John's shirt is blue. That's not saying it's good or bad. It just means that I'm telling the truth. That bag is yellow. That shirt is blue. Would you prefer that I say, I don't see colors? I don't care whether the sky is blue, the grass is green, or vice versa? That's not a good thing. Unless you have an actual disability, you benefit from seeing color, seeing differences, realizing that not everything is the same. Of course the people on the Supreme Court see color. They just don't see it mattering anymore. I don't see color. A black man and a white man look the same to me, they would say. That's fine if it means I care about them both equally. But when I don't see color, it turns into I don't care whether others see color. That's not good. The key word then in the colorblind approach is blind. Some people are racists. Some people do judge others by the color of their skin. We still hear the N-word from some passing cars. These things happen. Those people, I assure you, are not colorblind. And as long as some, too many, however many there are, as long as some would still deny rights based on skin color, our government is supposed to act to vindicate those rights. The colorblind approach says, we don't need to worry about that anymore. We learned how to hit the curveball. We learned how to have our suit withstand the rain. We can be indifferent to that lesson of history. It is said that the opposite of love is not hate, but indifference. Semantics, of course, but both of those are opposites of love. If you love your neighbor, you don't hate them. but you're also not indifferent to their plight. If you're not colorblind, you may be race conscious, but that just means that you're conscious of those differences and the differences in historical treatment. You see that the sky is blue and the grass is green and the bag is yellow and the shirt is blue, and that we need to work to avoid slipping back to a society which makes it harder for black representation in politics. If you don't see color, so you can't see the harm in the denial of civil rights, then I'm against you. But if you don't see color because you are for all being equal, then I'm with you. In his song called Border Song, Elton John says, or sings, I will be merciful and not sing to you. Elton John sings, "Holy Moses, let us live in peace. Let us strive to find a way to make our hatred cease. There's a man over there, what's his color? I don't care. He's my brother. Let us live in peace. He's my brother. Let us live in peace." So here we are again for the 312th time. If we take seriously the challenges of the world, we can choose to be overwhelmed and despondent, or we can choose to roll up our sleeves and keep pushing against all that stands in the way of a more fair and kind community for all. We can practice faithful resistance. And as if I didn't know the answer, are you all still fired up and ready to go? Fired up!
Fired up!
Ready to go?
Ready to go!
Fired up!
Fired up!
Ready to go?
Ready to go!
Fired up!
Fired up!
Ready to go?
Ready to go!
Let's go change the world, because the lessons that we can learn from history and from our own experiences is that change is only possible if we become part of it. So thank you all for being part of that, and thank you all for coming.